We finally got the low pass to work. It's a single pole low pass, but we'll fix that. All right, we got the filter working. We have really high input resistance, like 6 megs right now. But if you turn the resonator all the way up, you can get self-resonance. And my speaker is not big enough to handle it. Wait for it. Yep. So that could damage the speaker. Alright, finally got a solid VCO with a low-pass filter, a 2-stage low-pass filter, and some juicy resonance. Oh yeah. So this is with the LM358 driving it. You can see the resonance has hardly any effect. Alright, this one is with the TL074. And it has a wondrous resonance. Yeah, it sounds really good. So if we lower the frequency a bit here. That's so cool. Alright, so this is the latest and greatest module, just completed it. This is an ADSR envelope, so it's the attack, sustain, decay, release. Each one is responsible for a different part of a signal. Attack controls how fast it increases. Then we have a decay, and it will decay down to a sustain level where it will sit, and then when the release is let go, it will release and go back to 0. So this circuit generates that specific signal, and then we can control them. Essentially, it's a bunch of time constants with variable resistances in connection with an output capacitor. So the capacitor that sets this, or the resistances, has an effect on this. We use the capacitor to sort of switch ranges. So we're going to start with a slower capacitor. We're going to go with a 2.2 microfarad to begin. So here we go. I've already got it all plugged in. This is the oscillator already, and this is the power supply. So we're going to go ahead and just turn on the speaker. You'll hear it work at some frequency. You can lower it. Now I'm going to trigger the input. You see it goes up quite high, and it hits the decay. And when I turn that off, it discharges. We're going to make this quite long, so it'll take longer when the trigger is cut off. Makes it a bit longer. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to make the attack now very long. So we're going to twist it this way. I'm going to wire it the other way when I solder it. So now this will take a long time to rise. And then I turn the trigger off. And then we can of course set a sustain. Gotta let it go all the way through the attack phase. And then it's decaying right now. So we could set this to be shorter. It hits the sustain. We can lower it. You actually can't raise it for some technical reasons of the circuit. It'll sustain and only go down. And then if you were to end the trigger early, it would trigger the release phase. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna take this one out, and we're gonna put in a shorter capacitor, or a smaller value. This is 0.1 microfarads. Okay, so this one is orders of magnitude smaller. It is going to be significantly faster. So if we trigger it, that was it. Just that little bit. So if we slow down the attack and raise the sustain, you see it pretty much hits right there. This could be very useful for creating these snappy sounds. If you had something switching this quickly, you can make a sort of kick drum sound. If we were to invert the signal, we could actually make the pitch go down, which is something we're looking into doing. We're going to add an inverting amplifier. We're also going to add a input stage so that we don't go so high. You're able to control the gain of what's coming in to cause a trigger. And we'll have an output stage that can flip it. So if we want something to go down instead of up, and we also will have it so that if you want to rein in how big that impulse is and a modulation at the size that you want, it'll just be kind of handy to have it there. So anyways, yes, that is the ADSR, and that's where we're at.